Hello, beautiful people. And I think we are live. If you're here, please just let me know, and I would love to interact with you. I thought it's been quite a long time since I've gone live, and I thought it would be fun to just get on here and talk about whole food plant based. I get people that reach out to me and send me comments or, ask questions about what exactly is that. And also about what are the acronyms that I use and what do they mean and why do they use them? So I thought, we could get on here and chat a little bit. And today's a special day for me because today is my birthday and I am enjoying the day. I went hiking and I'm going to be meeting with some family. And I just thought that it would be fun to also spend time with you. Hey, Janet. There you are. So good to see you. I just was, starting to share that I thought it would be fun to talk to people about what whole food plant-based is and what are the acronyms that we use. And if you are familiar with it, like I know Janet is, and maybe you have something to add to the conversation, your experience, or different things like that. But whole food plant-based was something that T. Colin Campbell, who wrote the book, The China Study, and is very involved in the whole food plant-based community. And he came up with that, as far as I understand. And he basically was trying to explain the difference between, what whole food eating is and what packaged goods are and what processed food is. And let's see here. Okay. Janet said she has one more stop, and she said hi to you, Remy. He's tired because he went on the hike with us, huh? Yeah, say hi to Janet. But um, since then it has evolved, and I also use whole food plant exclusive. Exclusive meaning like solely, and I heard that with Chef AJ, and I hear it a lot of different places. I'm not sure where it originated from, but the difference between plant-based and plant exclusive could mean, like, someone might say, oh, plant-based just means like, you base it here, but you still do these other things like, eat processed bread or crackers or, processed foods. Or maybe you're eating meat and dairy and you're plant-based. So I guess it depends on what you want to call it or understand the definition of. But plant exclusive is really trying to explain that it isn't just plant-based. It's exclusively, this is what I eat, whole foods, and they're plants, and they're exclusive, whole food plant exclusive. So anyways, and so for me, that means all vegetables and greens, all plants. It means lentils, beans, legumes, and it means fresh fruits, all fruits. It could be frozen, but I mean fruits. And then, the grains and potatoes. Potatoes are called tubers. So all the tubers, potatoes, and all the different potatoes, right? There's the purple potato, the sweet potato, the yam, the Hannah yam, the purple sweet potato, and there's just so many. And then there's the russet white potatoes and the Yukon and the red, and just there's so many. So and then grains. So for me, I'm also gluten-free, and so I stay away from the gluten grains. And there are a lot of them, actually. Some of the gluten-free grains that I eat are millet, which is an amazing one. And it looks like couscous. Couscous is a grain that is not gluten-free, but it looks like it's these little tiny balls, and it takes on the flavor of whatever you're cooking, which is great. Um, and another one is buckwheat, and there's quinoa, and just even rolled oats that are gluten free. Now, lately, I have been kind of taking a break from oats, and oats are amazing, and you should definitely eat oats. But I had heard that inflammation can be caused by, I mean, it can be caused by so many things, but I had heard that it could be a trigger for inflammation. And inflammation for me is a big one because I have tons of it. And in the sinus cavity, I have really much lower inflammation than I used to have, but I still have it. And so I thought, well, let me try kind of pausing on um, the oats and just play around and see if it makes a difference. And if it doesn't, I'm going to bring them back in because I love my oats. But anyways, so that kind of gives you an idea of the the whole food plant based, whole food plant exclusive, and all the categories that create it. And you would be amazed at how many ways you can take the abundance that there is of fruits and vegetables and grains and beans and all the things that I just talked about and create such beautiful, amazing food. You can create sauces, you can create dips, you can create cheese that's not really cheese, but it maybe takes on the consistency, or it maybe has some nutritional yeast in it, which kind of gives it a cheesy flavor. People get into eating nuts and seeds, which are amazing. I do eat nuts and seeds. I'm careful about the quantity. Some people, they can't, depending on what's going on with you, right? If you're trying to heal and you have weight loss, weight loss, people that are doing a lot of trying to lose weight, um, nuts and seeds, they are a high caloric food. And so a lot of people pause on those. For me, I'm in maintenance and I can always go up. I mean, that's not hard to do. But I find that for my particular blood work and what my doctors have told me for me specifically, that it's really important for me to have nuts and seeds because I've had some issues in the past with anemia. And so pumpkin seeds are high in iron, and sunflower seeds. I like walnuts. They're so good for the brain. And I do have some cashews. Those are a higher nut, and that's mostly for thickening, but I can use beans in those too. I can make dressings with beans instead of the cashews. You could switch things out once you just realize that there's a whole new world to explore. It's just incredible. Now, something else that I reference all the time when I go on my YouTube and I post videos is that I'm SOFAS free, gluten free. So I'm whole food plant based, or sometimes I do say plant based because people are more familiar with that. But the truth is, I really like to consider myself whole food plant exclusive, SOFAS free, gluten free. And sometimes people are like, "What is that?" And so we talked about whole food plant exclusive and whole food plant based, and we've talked a little bit about gluten free. A lot of people, I'll just say one more thing about gluten free. A lot of people get rid of the gluten when they have celiacs. And I actually was tested for celiacs, and I don't have it. But it can also cause other problems that aren't so debilitating, like, making you so sick, like if you have celiacs. And so I was advised to stop the gluten. And I did. And I really think it helped with the inflammation. So for me, I just kind of stay the course. Okay, SOFA's free. So originally it was SOS free. And we all know SOS, help kind of thing. Um, And I understand that Dr. Alan Goldhammer from the True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California. Hi, Gina. So glad you and Janet are here. Just talking about all the acronyms and different things that we go by. Anyhow, Dr. Goldhammer, I understand that he kind of came up with the SOS-free, meaning salt, oil, and sugar free. No salt, oil, and sugar. And then, he's good friends with Chef AJ, and I'm a big fan of all of the people that I've mentioned today and so many more. And Chef AJ, I guess, she's a comedian and just a wonderful influence in our plant-based world. And if you're not familiar with her, you should check her out. She's on daily with all kinds of shows. But she had, in her comedian, kind of way, had talked about sofas free, like get off the sofa, like get off the couch. Depending on where you live, people call the couch a sofa and people call the sofa a couch. But in this case, SOFAs is an extension of SOS free. So it's no salt, oil, flour, alcohol, sugar free. So get off of it. Get off the sofas. Get it? I learned that from her. So I have taken that and I'm like, no sofas, no gluten, no meat, no dairy, whole food plant exclusive. And because I say all the things that are no, that doesn't mean that there's nothing to eat. My goodness, there's so much to eat. Go into the grocery store, any grocery store, anywhere they sell food, and go to the produce department and walk around and find something that that you don't know what it is. And I think Todd is trying to.
I do. I have a question for you.
Oh, look at you from behind the scenes with a question. Okay.
Can you elaborate a little bit on SOFAs free, meaning that you don't eat sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt, but there are foods, natural foods that do contain sugar or sodium, levels of sodium or other things that maybe you would say that you don't eat.
Okay, I'm going to answer your question. I see that Gina put in the chat, happy birthday, and thank you so much. I am super blessed. I don't take it for granted. When I have a birthday, I celebrate it, and I look at it as a gift that I get to have another year that I was given and gifted on this planet. And so thank you. Today, 55. So I've never been 55 before. So for me, it's a big deal. And I appreciate all the love from you guys. So going back to your question, that's a really great question. Thank you so much, Todd, for asking it. So gosh, there's so many things I could talk about. So I'm just going to start with, I don't add those things to my food. I don't add processed sugar or sugar cane or salt or flour. Flour, when I mean flour, I mean like white flour. For me, whole wheat flour because it has gluten. But I do use flour. If I take a grain, for example, well, I'm not having it currently right now, but let's say oatmeal, rolled oats, and I blend it up in my Vitamix dry container, I can use that as a flour. Or some people buy or create their own flour out of almonds, almond flour, chickpea flour, all kinds of different flours that are basically the grain ground up. So I'm okay with using those to make things on a daily basis. I don't really use them, but like if I'm making a special whole food plant exclusive SOFAs free gluten-free cake for my birthday, for example, I might use one of those flours. And so make sure that you see that Janet is saying hi to Todd, and Gina says, great question. Yeah, I know, he's He's a great questioner. So I want to continue on with answering this question. And then, from the couch in pain to running this morning. Wait.
That's you.
Oh, from on the couch in pain. Yes, me. That's right. To running this morning. I did. Congrats. Yes. Yay. Sofa's free living. And same to you too, Gina. And yes, I did. I was running today. On the mountain. It was super cool. And anyways, okay. So thank you. So salt, there is a lot of natural salts in food, like celery. And I know that Janet, and I think Gina too, maybe not, but I know Janet and I and lots of people, juice their celery. Well, you're getting natural salts in the celery. So you don't need to add salt. Salt way back in the day, when I say way back in the day, I'm thinking like, in the 50s or earlier. I don't know like the facts of it. I just kind of am sharing what I'm remembering. Um, People didn't have necessarily enough iodine in their bodies, in their meals, especially if they were like in places where iodine is not natural. So where does iodine come from? It comes from sea vegetables. So if you live on the coast, and your food is grown in the soil there, chances are you would get iodine when the soil was rich with all the minerals and B12 and all the things that we don't have anymore. But let's say you live in Minnesota or somewhere like in the middle there of the country, and I'm talking about the United States because that's where I live. There was no iodine, and so people were having iodine deficiencies, but everybody was eating or ingesting table salt. So what did they do? Morton, and I don't know who else, but salt companies said, you know what? Everyone's having a little salt. Everyone's got a salt and pepper shaker on their table back then. Let's add iodine in it, and then we won't have to worry, and everybody, no matter where they live, will ingest it. So what happens when you give that up, like me? Well, I actually do buy like dulse and seaweed vegetables, and I put a little bit of that on my salads or in a smoothie, or and just make sure that I have that, because I do also have thyroid disorder. I have Hashimoto's and I have hypothyroidism, and so together I need to make sure that I have enough iodine and not too much. And so some people take iodine in their supplements. That's a whole nother kit and caboodle, because I think that a lot of people think that it's better to have it more measured. Sea vegetables, you don't know how much exactly you're getting. But I think for me, if I sprinkle a little bit every day or every other day, maybe this day will be a little stronger and now a little weaker, it kind of balances out. And so that has worked for me so far. Kelp, on the other hand, is a really, really high sodium. And so I do have some that was a gift, in some kind of packaged popcorn that I had bought from Rancho Gordo during the pandemic, and they'd sent some of these seasonings, and that was one of them. And so I have it, and but I don't really use it because it's so high. So if you do use it or you do have it, you got to really, really take it down. So that's salt, that's flour, sugar. Um, I don't want to ingest sugar. So what has sugar in it that I do ingest? Well, dates have sugar. Maple syrup has sugar. Date sugar, I understand, is just that. It's like dehydrated dates. So, those are sweeteners that I will use in place of sugar if I need a little something. Balsamic vinegars. They're not in place of sugar, but depending on what kind you get, they can be very sweet and take a nice flavor on. So we've talked about salt. We haven't talked about oil yet. And you were just really asking though about salt, right?
Well, no, I was asking to clarify on all of them,
Okay.
but I also like that you're explaining what you don't eat, why you don't eat it, and what you replace that with in what you can and do eat.
Right. Yes. Thank you. So oil. Well, this is what I know about oil. Um, it doesn't do a body any good. It certainly doesn't help my body. And, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not preaching anybody to do anything. I'm just sharing my own experience and what my own personal beliefs are. And oil is a really um, high calorie dense food, if you want to call it a food. It's processed, and I don't ingest processed food to the best of my ability. Hey, I'm a human and I'm not perfect, but if I'm aware of it, and I would prefer not to. And I've heard this before, like, why do people think oil is necessary on their food? Well, what does it do for you? Well, for me, it causes inflammation, it causes weight gain, it gives me acne, and there is no real flavor. I mean, how many of us have said, I think, honey, I would like to, share a glass of oil with you. Doesn't that sound tasty? Or even a shot glass. No. And, I have friends that say, well, what about, you know, cold pressed olive oil, or this one from Italy, or all these different types of oil. um Oil, to me, oil's oil. So I'd rather get my fat in a different way, like from a non-processed fat, like avocado. And for some people, they can't really do avocado because they're trying to lose weight, and avocado, or it's a trigger food, and that's another topic, trigger foods. But avocado for me is not a trigger food, and I do enjoy it. So I can have a fifth of an avocado and be okay. So that is a natural fat. And also walnuts. Walnuts are amazing for our brain and the omegas and all kinds of things like that. So let me see right here. We've got oil makes you fat and clogs your arteries. Yes, that's just a huge one. Thank you, Gina. Um, so if you are not familiar with Dr. Esselstyn, an amazing doctor, Caldwell Esselstyn Jr. He let's see, he's a cardiologist. I think he might be retired from that position now, but he worked at Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. He's all kinds of books, recipes in his cookbooks with his family, and he's done Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease cookbook and the regular book that explains so many things about the arteries and the endothelial cells, which are these beautiful, delicate little, you know, inside our tubing. I don't want to call it tubing, but inside the arteries of the lining where the blood gets pumped in and out of the heart. It's just like these little fine little hairs, and it damages them, and it just creates havoc, and it causes high blood pressure and high cholesterol and all kinds of things that oil can do. And if we simply remove it, you can heal yourself. The thing is, we've been told, hi Mona, good to see you, thanks for tuning in. We're just talking about acronyms and whole food plant-based, and I was just going through SOFAs and what that stands for, and we've touched on some of them out of order, but I was just finishing up with oil. And you know when our bodies are like loaded down with the standard American diet, with the way that most of us have been raised, with processed food and oil and salt and flour and alcohol and sugar and all of these things, um, the body after a while can't keep up. It's like if you cut yourself and you see that it creates a scab because it's healing, but you keep picking the scab, pick, 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 and you never let it heal, it can get worse. And I think that that's a really good way to explain what happens when we don't give our body the opportunity to just eat the foods that are really meant for us to eat and allow our body to work on healing and bringing down inflammation and cleaning up the arteries and the heart and bringing blood pressure to natural, regulated, nice, you know, um, number and all of that. When we just keep putting it in, putting fast food in, putting all these things in, crackers and process and garbage, donuts, and I don't even know what cereal that we think is healthy and it's not, the body just, it gets overloaded. And so anyway, so we hit on salt, we hit on oil, we hit on flour, and we hit on sugar and alcohol. you know um, at one point I thought alcohol was really good for you. It calms the body, just one glass. It comes from grapes and it's fermented, and I don't know, whatever you want to say, but alcohol actually is a stimulus. Anybody live here want to talk about alcohol and reasons that you would maybe not want to ingest it for a whole food, plant exclusive type of lifestyle? I know that, for me, it just, there's nothing in it that will help me. I can get inflammation from it. I don't need to feel the weird feeling that happens when I have too much. What is she saying? It made me, oh really, it made you want pizza and pasta. Well, you know what, uh, yeah, I could see that, because I can remember feeling a little, tipsy turvy on alcohol. And you know what? It never took me more than like a few sips. I've always been a lightweight, and I never got into drinking beer, but I did like wine at one point. Alcohol kills brain cells. Yes, I do believe it. And alcohol raises the risk of breast cancer. That's also true. Thank you so much for sharing all of these reminders, because sometimes on the fly I can't remember everything. But yeah, there's really, the only thing that I think I could say that's positive about alcohol is that there are grapes in it. And grapes are what? A fruit. And I forgot the name that grapes produce in alcohol. Anyone remember? It's not thylakoids. No, that's, I don't remember right now. But why not just have the grapes, for goodness sake? Just eat the grapes. Then you get the benefit of the grapes and skip the alcohol. Drink water. Our bodies are made of water. We need water. So drink water. And I am not dictating or telling you what to do. I'm pretty much, when I talk like that, I'm like talking to myself. I'm reminding myself that, Jennifer, you need to drink water. You are made of a lot of water. And my goal in life these days, whenever I put something in here, it has to have a purpose. It has to be something that's going to help me. And that's not going to happen overnight either. We can't just change our food for a meal and expect our ailments to go away. It's a process, and it's a commitment, and it's going against the grain, because society doesn't set us up for, you know to be successful in that. It's kind of set up for failure. There's something here you want me to read. Eat the red grapes instead of drinking it. Oh, what does that say? I can't read it that well. Resvert. What does that say? Resveratrol.
I am going to
Resveratrol.
destroy it trying to pronounce it. Resveratrol.
Resveratrol.
Veratrol.
Is that all right, Gina? Are we killing it? Okay, so explain to me what that is, because I think I know that that's what the grapes turn into, or that's what they have in them. But I want to make sure, because I don't want to say something that's not correct, if you don't mind. And you're so smart. Everybody here is so smart. And thank you so much for those of you that aren't live that are listening, because you're smart too, because you want to learn and you want to maybe add something that you already know. Help me learn, because I'm always a student here, and I just like to share what I know. But let's see, what were we just talking about?
Alcohol.
I mean, I know. Let's see, what were we just talking about? Well, anyways, I'll just say that, those are the acronyms that I refer to every time almost every time that I create a video. And it's a reminder to me, it's a reminder to you. Oh, I know what I was talking about. Every time I put something in my mouth, there's a reason. And, um, being successful takes a community, takes a commitment, and takes a desire. And so that's why myself and so many others in the whole food plant based or whole food plant exclusive SOFAs free or SOS free or gluten free or whatever try so hard to share with anyone who's willing and interested, because the benefits are OMG. They are so incredible. I went hiking this morning. I didn't have a lot of time because it was important for me to share part of my birthday with you guys. And even if no one had come on here, I was like, I don't care. I just want to spend some time on my day sharing. And so we went on a different trail than we were going to go on, a shorter trail, and we had a set number of time. And we were done a half an hour earlier than we anticipated because I was hustling for the first time. I was like hustling. I was running up some of the trails, and not the whole time, but I was moving. And poor Todd, he was carrying the big heavy backpack and had the dog connected to him. And he was huffing and puffing at one point, which you said we both were. It was called, what was it called?
It's called Huff and Puff Trail,
Huff and
actually.
Puff Trail, yeah. And so I was huffing and puffing too a little bit, but we both were. And I said, wow, I feel like, what did I say? I felt like my energy was so much better. There was a different word that I used this morning. Do you remember what I used?
Stamina?
Yeah, I think it was stamina, actually. My energy, my stamina, my abilities, way up. I contribute that to my lifestyle, the food I ingest, the fact that I put myself first now, and I, do my darndest to go to bed early. There are occasions when it doesn't happen, but overall, more times than not, I go to bed between 8:30 and 9. I do. And I get up early and I drink water, and, um, I feel like it's been long enough to where now I'm feeling the benefits, and exercise and sunshine and just smiling and dancing. I mean, all these things create sensations in the brain that help heal, endorphins and things that, when you eat processed food, you get some of those hits, dopamine hits, I should say, but they don't give you the benefits that exercise does, or eating something that's wholesome, that's grown in the garden, or at the farmer's market, something that's real food. So, anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Does anybody have either questions? Maybe you're new here. The people I see on here are all people that I know that are in the same community. And so, is there anything that you'd want to share maybe with somebody? Maybe it's their first time watching and they stumbled across me somehow and they don't really know much about whole food, plant exclusive, SOFAs free, gluten free.
While we're waiting for those questions and thoughts to come in from the chat, can you talk a little bit about today's your birthday, and we're going to celebrate your birthday with family. And when we do that, that naturally comes with some inherent challenges because not everybody in the family eats the way that you do. Can you talk a little bit about how you work through that and how you address those challenges?
I do. I do. Thank you. So I'm really lucky. Um, my immediate family accepts and understands that this is like my life depends on this. And I have said that um, to family members, that this is so important to me. And I really do believe that when I say that my life depends on it, because When I was dealing with the horrific nonstop small fiber neuropathy, um, and I knew that the food was helping, I needed everybody to, they didn't have to be on board. They didn't have to do what I was doing, but they had to respect what I was doing. And so I'm in that fashion, I'm very lucky. Um, so what I do is I bring my food even to my mom's house, to my kids' house, to friends' houses, to a restaurant, to an airport. If I know that I am going somewhere and it's not somewhere to the grocery store to buy food or something, it's a celebration like what you're talking about, a holiday, I bring my own food. And what a relief that is. It really brings the stress down. It brings the panic down of, oh my gosh, here I am surrounded by all of this stuff that I don't ingest, and now I'm getting hungry. But for me, I don't have to worry about that because I can, if I feel uncomfortable, which I don't right now, but if I'm like at a work thing, sometimes we go to some of Todd's work events, I'll eat in the car. Um, my food. We've done that even for concerts and things. And as far as birthdays, because today's my big day, um, you know, I'll have family members say, "Well, what can I make you? What we want to sing to you with a dessert or with something," because that's our culture. That's what we do. And so I've done everything from bring my own, like I will make a whole food plant-based dessert and bring it, to fruit. I think it was last year. We celebrated a couple different times and we went to my mother's and she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Fruit." And it's like people can be like, "Oh, fruit. I don't know if it's not full of sugar, why it's not good enough in their eyes, why it's not special enough, why it has to be." But I've even said at one point, I said, I can just hold a candle because I didn't really need anything attached to it. But I understand the past and the whole, I don't want to call it a thing, but the whole thing around it, the whole experience. So fruit is good, and my mom made a bunch of sliced of apples. I think there were, I don't remember exactly what was in it, but I want to say apples and oranges. And she had a big banana, and she put candles all across the banana, and it was perfect, and I loved it. Um, and so that's how I usually handle it. I be prepared and I bring my own. And you know what? I'm okay if nobody else wants to eat that dessert, that celebration food, and they need to have something that's non-compliant, meaning not compliant with the way that I am eating. And they want to have something there that they got that has all of those acronym things in it that, that's fine. Just don't let it touch my stuff. And I mean it. Don't use the same utensils. I don't want the spoon that went into something that I don't ingest going over here to my steamed vegetables or cutting into my fruit or whatever. And I'm just very clear about it. And it's nothing personal. So let me see what this says. Oh, so Mona says, I made my own last year, Chef AJ's chocolate cheesecake. Ooh, it was shared amongst many. Oh, that sounds amazing. And that's the thing. There are so many, Chef AJ has so many amazing desserts, doesn't she? There are so many amazing desserts that you can eat that are whole food plant exclusive. Um, Talking about how to stay on our eating plan is so important. It gives new people an idea of how to navigate family situations. Thank you, Jennifer. You know what? You're welcome. And you're right. It can be very hard. And Mona and Janet are talking about their walk, but because Janet is on her own channel. And if you haven't checked her out, check her out because she's great. Plant Powered Peddler. So When I first decided I was going to change things, and I have changed things more than once or twice. So I need to wrap it around my own head and understand it in those early days first, because I don't want the questions, or I didn't want the questions because I wasn't prepared to answer them. And I didn't feel strong enough in what I was doing. So I kind of kept it quiet, and in the early days I would go off track because I was going to be with, you know, friends or neighbors or people that were having us over, and they had big spreads, and I would be like, well, okay, just this time, or and then on the weekday I would be really good. And you know what? It just doesn't work. Um it's okay to keep it to yourself until you're comfortable. But it is really important to have community. It is really important to have people that understand the direction that you're going, that can help answer questions, that can help make suggestions, and that can be your fallback, be there to hold you when you're unsure. And, depending on different families, I've heard of the dynamics being where people are offended and like really angry that you're not going to eat my special food that I made for you. And I didn't know that, it's vegan, it's good, it's this. And what it's not about insulting the other person. And I think sometimes people that don't understand, they take it personally. It also changes the dynamics in the relationship. Maybe you guys used to, you know, I mean, if I don't know, maybe two sisters would get their periods, or two best friends, and they want chocolate and ice cream and, all of that stuff. And now one of them has changed and the other one is like, oh my gosh, that, that was what we did. Well, it's okay. You could just find a replacement. The best ice cream there is for me is nice cream. I love it. So let me see what's going on here. I'm just reading Mona's. Let's see. Yes, but that's one that's just a treat. Okay, yeah. It was so rich and could be addictive. And that's true. Even in whole food plant-based eating, there are, desserts that are decadent, that are delicious, that have a lot of dates and nuts and things. And, people can get off depending on where you are. So we talked about that with avocado earlier, that, some people it's a trigger. And, for me, I can make that. I've never had, but I could probably make that cheesecake and divide it up and freeze it in sections and leave it. Some people, even in the freezer, they can't. They only think about what's in the freezer. Oh, the freezer, the freezer, the freezer. I got to get to the freezer. And you know what? I'm not going to say that's never happened to me, but it doesn't happen to me enough to where I'm concerned. And so even cut it in half, the recipe in half, or leave it for those people that you're celebrating with. Good thoughts I'm just coming up with. Let's see what we have here. Gina says, I also think having a supportive community helps us to listen how to eat in all situations. Yes, and that's why I'm so grateful for everybody here with me. And I truly mean that. And Janet says, thanks, Jennifer, of course. Janet is a world worth of all kinds of topics and things to share with people. And I want people to know about you too. So let's see, Gina says, it's a process, because I went from not wanting to upset the apple cart to feeling strong and firm with what I won't eat. Many of us didn't do it overnight, but so worth it. Yeah. It's so hard, right? We're in this culture of yes please, or pleasing people, especially in our own personal circles, right? Like people pleaser. Have you heard that? um it's okay to be where you are. I'm not going to tell you, you don't need to do that, you don't need to do this. I'm not going to tell you any of that. If that's where you are, that's okay. You can acknowledge that. And you just have to figure out the best way for you to share what you're doing, and how it's not an insult to anybody else. It has nothing to do with anyone else. at all. Even in the early days, I remember talking to you, Todd, and he kind of at one point, and correct me if I'm wrong, was saying like, well, I'm not going to eat that, and I'm not. And I just looked at him and I said, this is not about you. I mean, the way sometimes we talk to each other is very direct because we get each other, and so I wasn't being insulting to him, and he knows that. It was a way that I needed to be direct, and he understood me that way. And I just had to say, this isn't about you. And I mean, as much as I care, I don't care if you do this or not. Like, if you want to do this, come on, let's do it together. Man, that would have been amazing. But I knew that wasn't the time or the place, that wasn't happening then. And so I just needed to heal. If I didn't do it, nobody was going to do it. And I was the one that's going to feel all the negative things and not get better and not at least try to see if it would work. So, how did you feel when I said that? Do you remember having that kind of a conversation?
Yeah, I do. I remember that, and I recognized it for what it was and how you explained it. I think, um, like you had suggested, I wasn't there yet. You needed support, and you needed to do what you needed to do, regardless of where I was in the process.
So, not to get off on a different path, but just curious, are you there yet?
I am more closer, if that's proper grammar, which I don't think it is. I am closer now to there yet than I've ever been. I think I probably at this point eat significantly more whole food, plant-based, gluten-free, SOFAS-free foods and meals than I do anything else. I do, be perfectly transparent and perfectly honest. I do um, still eat on occasion things that you don't, or some of or other folks in this community don't and shouldn't and won't eat. But it's an evolution, not a revolution for me.
Yes. And I just see Gina said, yay, Todd, it's a journey. Um, so let me go back and see some of the things that I missed here. Um, where were we? Right? Let's see. Okay. Mona says, I just never wanted to tell others little lies. Oh, interesting that you consider that a little lie. Let me see what that means. I was straight up about how I ate and found others just moved on and didn't worry about my food. Oh, okay. So Mona, you just said like, this is what I'm doing now. Kind of take it or leave it to people. Am I understanding that correctly? Um, And Gina said, that's great, Mona, which it is. Mostly, I didn't want them to continue making stuff I had to toss. Oh, Mona. Yeah, God, good point, said Gina. And you know what? How brave of you. Uh, I'm not there. Um, People make stuff for me, and even if it's not me personally that accepts it, if another person that I live with accepts it and brings it in the house, I don't ever say what I do with it if it doesn't get ingest. And but I do think that this year I did flat out tell people. Somebody came over and said, "We brought you this whole standard American diet dessert that I made, that person made. We brought you this," and they said, "We know you can't have it, Jennifer, but Todd, you can have it." And we don't really know what to bring you, to give you. And that was the first time I said, oh, well, I'll tell you. And I actually wasn't there when it was delivered, when it was brought over. Todd brought it in, but we went back over to their home And I delivered some, didn't I deliver some citrus?
You did some
Lemons?
oranges, lemons, and I think a grapefruit.
Oranges, lemons. Okay. And I said, yeah, I heard. Okay. So this is interesting. So I said to Todd, after that was first dropped off, did you tell them? Did you tell them what I could eat? And he said, well, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to go over there. And I wanted to go over there anyway. So we brought stuff like citrus. And I said to them, that Todd said you weren't sure, kind of went through this whole thing, what happened. And I said, let me tell you, I would love like a 5-pound bag of oranges for the holidays or something like that. And then I did slip in, I know I shouldn't have done it, but I did say I would really love it if it would be organic. But I think it's important to be able to share it, and I did start doing that, but it's been really hard because it's it's not something that I have to face daily or even monthly. It's like seasonally. And so it took me a while. As I was reflecting, I realized I did this year. And I also did too. Another neighbor close by, across the street, they were saying, I don't know, and what I did was I brought over some of Chef AJ's desserts. Some of us, were in a dessert class that she offered. And Mona, you were in it, and I had all these desserts. So I brought over the desserts, and I said, this is something that I could eat and I want to share it with you. And then I listed things that I could eat, things that are simple, that don't have to be, this whole thing, like a bag of potatoes. Hey, I mean, seriously. And for my birthday, I want to tell you, some of my grandbabies they're not here right now. They're on vacation. And so we couldn't be together. So we celebrated early because a couple of them have birthdays during this time. And one of the grandbabies got me like a whole thing with the tops and everything of organic carrots. Oh man, I mean, I loved it. I loved everything that everybody gave me, pictures and hugs and flowers and other things, but mostly importantly the time spent together. But I was like, yes, he gets me. It was one of the little babies. He gets me. I have carrots. And I made something with the carrots. I think it was a soup or something. And I made sure to let him know that this was made with those carrots. So, I appreciate that, Mona. You share that. Let's see what's been going on here. Okay. Let's see. Friends now ask, Mona says, if I eat a certain food now before they even bother making anything. Well, good. Good. And you know what? Maybe they will start thinking about their own patterns. Maybe it's like planting the little seed, right? We're not here to worry about what everybody else does, but if people become more curious and our community grows and our voices become, stronger and louder, maybe things will continue to progress for us, and changes, so that it's not so hard to go out of our houses and see advertisements and all of this nonsense. So let's see. Those darn sticker bar. Oh, Mona says those darn Snickers bars. I had to get those out. My friend is still. Can you move the mouse? Let's see. My friend is still made. I gave them to him. Oh, and he. Oh. Okay. Oh, mad. My friend is still mad. I gave them to him. He ate lots of them. Those Snicker bars. Are you talking about compliant ones that were from AJ's class? Because she had all kinds of stuff, and yeah, it was all so good. So I hope that this has been helpful. I don't know. Does anybody want to talk about anything else? Oh yes, she said yes. It was AJ's. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I have another 5 minutes or so, and if anybody wants to talk about anything else, this has been really fun. I do have a question for you guys. We had put out a preview or whatever, a notification for the live about how many days ago? 4 days ago?
It was about 4 days ago.
4 days ago. Just curious, if anyone noticed those. I'm trying to figure out how to make sure that people, it might be in their notification settings, but just trying to make sure that if people are interested, that it's getting out there and people see it. We tried to do it so that there was lots of notice, and I'm not sure that everyone saw it. So I know Gina said that she did, but that would be nice to hear from you guys regarding that. Look at Remy. He's sleeping. He went on the hike with us today, and he's a tired boy. Let's see. Oh, yes, Gina, you saw the notification on my feed. Okay, good, good. Because I think Janet was saying she didn't, and then I was questioning it. Just want to make sure. Yes, sweetheart. Yes. Yes, I know. You're tired. He's just looking at me. Mona, what do I do with this dog? He's so precious. Yeah, yeah. I know Mona likes to help animals too. Everybody's loves animals, huh? Everybody that we know loves animals. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people in our community. And we have compassion. And you know what I want to share with you guys? On Netflix, we started watching a show last night. Has anyone heard of this? It's called Kiss the Ground. And we've only gotten halfway through it. And it's about the soil. And, you know, all about just what we need, not the bacteria, it is about the bacteria and the microbes and everything in the soil, and the difference between real soil and like dirt, and how that happens, and the carbon dioxide and oxygen, just the whole thing on a global level. And it's been really interesting. I hope to finish watching the other half tonight or tomorrow. So let's see. Oh yeah, Gina, it came out in 2020, and it's called Kiss the Ground. It's on Netflix. I don't know if it's on any other channel or place, but you could certainly look it up. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So anyways, what I'm going to do for the rest of my day is I'm going to pack up my cooler, and I'm going to go and pick up some of my adult kids. And oh, you just started watching the twin doc. We saw that. It is incredible. And my mother is an identical twin. So it was even more interesting just having that kind of, growing up with identical twins in our family. And so, yeah, you'll have to tell me what you think about that. It was really interesting. This is a little bit different because it's not necessarily solely whole food plant-based, or maybe it is. I mean, what we're watching. It's just about go ahead.
It's more about the conditions of the earth
Yes.
from a sustainability standpoint as a result of how agriculture has farmed and tilled and worked the land, and what the ramifications are now that we're facing.
Oh, you didn't say that? What didn't you say, Janet? Yeah, identical twins, Gina. I know. And as a kid, there were times when I messed them up. I mixed them up. And when you're a little kid and you realize it, you're like, you're not my mom. So anyways, why don't you, for the last couple of minutes, come on over and just join me. I'm just going to finish telling what we're doing today. So I said I was going to pack up my cooler. I'm bringing my food, picking up the kids, right? We're all going to, we're going to meet some there. Here he is. And then we're going to spend some time. I don't know what we'll do, but we might play board games, or I don't know if they'll be up for going for a short WALK. I don't want him to hear that. But whatever it is, it's just time to be together. And it doesn't have to be about this nonsense with food. I mean, we have to eat food, but we can just enjoy each other and feel good about it. So
there you go.
Let's see what they're saying. Hi,
Hi,
Todd.
Gina.
Oh, you didn't say that. Oh, Janet said she didn't say that she didn't see about the notice. Okay, my mistake. Well, then good. Then maybe it did go out there and I just misunderstood. Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that. Have a wonderful time with your family, Gina said. She said hi to Todd, and thank you. Thank you so much. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being part of this conversation, helping to spread the word and share. You know, if we already have the information, it's just nice to connect. And I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate your time and your willingness to share and, sending love to everyone.
And I would like to thank each of you also for being such a positive influence in Jennifer's life as she goes through all of this that she's going through, this evolution, this journey, this change, this, finding her way to a new, better, healthier her. So thank you from me personally to you for being there for her.
Okay, but I got to stop you for a minute. I think that they are also part of an influence on you, babe.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And you're thanking them for being an influence on me. And I thought you were going to say for
because you're now an influence on me, and it's just like this big circle of love thing happening.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So thank you for influencing her to influence me and back in this.
But I really do believe, because I've been around, doing this for a while. I believe that the outside community people here and at potlucks and just other places, the documents, I think your willingness to listen or be open-minded and having that is been really great for you as well. And so I want to thank you too, because we live together, and it's a ever-changing dynamic, and it's a whole different topic. But I appreciate you being open to try it, with me.
Course,
so
of course.
Let's see. Thanks for coming on live. Thank you. Yes. And I'll try to do this more often. If you guys think it's helpful, I would like to, if people think it's of value. Mona says, this was fun. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you, Mona. And it was fun. I really do love connecting with everyone. Janet, have a wonderful birthday. Thank you. I am already. And your notification, I may have gotten it, but have been crazy busy. I know, and not keeping up with emails. No, don't worry. I just was kind of trying to play around with if it worked, or if there was something that we needed to set, or was it notification that people need to set? And so that's the only reason. Gina, Todd is helping me also while I watch him open up to healthier eating. Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we are all helping each other, Gina. And, look, I'm not perfect at this, and I'm not anywhere even close to where Jennifer is.
This is
but
not a competition.
I recognize that. But, we all go at our own pace, and we accept each other for where we're at. And we do the best that we can.
That's something that I'm working on, is accepting. I don't want to say people where they're at, because I feel like I do accept people where they're at, but I'm harder in our household.
Mm-hmm.
And you have pointed that out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that I've been doing a better job.
You absolutely have, yes.
So, it's a journey, everyone. It's a journey.
On both sides.
Yeah, but we're in this together. We're here for you. If you are watching this as a replay and you have questions, please post them. If you have not subscribed, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the notification, and then hopefully you'll be notified when I go live like this or post new videos. I'd love to hear if you have any topics that you'd like us to discuss in the future, or anything you'd like me to share or show you when I'm cooking or exercising, or just food for thought kind of thing. I love everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget, eat your greens. Take care, everyone. Bye for now. And Gina said, it helps keep her inspired too. We're not perfect. No, we're not. Love to everyone. Take care. Mwah. Bye-bye.